compensate, following the death of his grandfather. Millie, like Audrey, had refused to wear black in a show of mourning for the wretched man. The late Marquess had driven his estate into deep debt just to spite his heir. The sisters had received a few glances at their lack of widow's black while they toured Paris, but no one had parted their lips to comment aloud. In Paris, one had more room to breathe. A certain level of anonymity had also relaxed her. When she stepped out in public, she was not solely defined by her title, Dowager Duchess of Fornia. After parting ways with Millie and Reggie in Paris, she and Cassie had gone west to see the Swiss Alps, then on to Turin, Italy, and points south to Florence, Rome, Naples and Pompeii. On their way north again, they'd stopped in Venice, then Lyon, before returning to Paris. They'd seen ancient architecture, historical artifacts, famous works of art, and met with several other travellers, some of whom Audrey liked better than others. The fact that Cassie was an unmarried debutante with a large dowry had caused her to be of interest to many young men taking their tour of the continent. And because Audrey was a young widowed duchess with a large fortune at her disposal, some of the gentlemen they came across were rather obvious in their attentions toward her as well. To no end, however, not one man she encountered while away had tempted her in the least. Hugh Marsden, the new Viscount Neetham, had captured her heart completely, and he was waiting for her back in England, or so she hoped. At another surge and toss of the packet ship, Audrey's stomach clenched, and only partly because of the storm. For months now, she'd been trapped in a revolving state of confusion and concern, and of anger and disappointment. One letter. One singular letter. That was all she had received from Hugh during the entirety of their time away. She'd penned multiple letters to him and posted them wherever they travelled. He knew to which hotels to direct his replies, and yet, other than the one to their hotel in Paris the week of their arrival, no others had come. Audrey had been forced to inquire in a letter to her sister-in-law Jeanie, the new Duchess of Fornia, if all was well with the Viscount. Her reply had set Audrey at ease, while also inflaming her. Yes, the Viscount Neetham was well and good. Michael had seen him a few times at White's. Hugh had even delivered a lovely rocking horse to little George, who had turned 1 in November. It made no sense. Hugh had not been keen on her travelling the continent, but he would never have withheld correspondence out of anger. She'd read his one and only letter countless times, trying to determine why no others had arrived. But there were no clues within the few paragraphs. He'd even signed off by saying that he loved her and missed her already. Audrey rubbed her sister-in-law's back, a curl of unease twisting her stomach some more. What would she discover when they arrived in London? The worst possibilities refused to be silenced in her mind. That he no longer had feelings for her, that he'd found someone else. Both seemed utterly preposterous, and yet, why had he not written? "Take my mind off my misery," Cassie said, her eyes remaining closed as she leaned against Audrey's shoulder. "How would you like me to do that?" "I don't know. Recite poetry, say the alphabet backward, anything." On the stacked bunks next to theirs, Greer had been reclining on the bottom, and on the top bunk Ruth had been keeping a watchful eye on her ill mistress while mending a pair of stockings. Audrey's devoted lady's maid smirked at Cassie's silly request. "I do not have a single line of poetry memorized, nor do I wish to make a fool of myself by reciting the alphabet backward." Cassie moaned in dejection. "However, why don't we talk about all the balls and parties you've missed while we've been travelling, and thus all the gentlemen you've managed to avoid?" This time, Cassie...